2005 was the last time we saw a Lexus IS with a hatchback wagon. It was the Sport Cross. Well, our next generation Lexus IS will have a liftback, hatch, whatever you want to call it. Once again, let's get into these leaked patent images. If you guys are excited for the next generation Lexus IS, smash the like button. Patented images are out there on the interwebs, so if you don't want to be spoiled by the next design, look away now. This is your last chance. Let's get into these patented images that this is the new Lexus IS 100%. We had images from Akio Toyota at the end of 2021. He showed us the next generation of Lexus vehicles, and the IS was in there. Now, keep in mind, this isn't exactly like the IS that was shown. We're going to talk about the differences, the things I like and dislike about this. And is this going to be a battery electric vehicle? We'll also talk about that today as well. These images are coming from a few different sites out there. I asked my good friend David Chow, and he was able to say that this is Chinese lettering down here, but it's also been stamped by other publications as well. So I'm not sure who broke it first, and I'm not 100% sure where these images came from in terms of which country's patent office either. Here's the clay model that Lexus showed off about a year and a half ago at this point, and we're going to compare what we know from the previous designs and images to see how they've changed, if they changed at all, to what we have on the patent office. Now, keep in mind, when we look at these patented images, they never look as good as they do in real life. A part of that is just the reflections on the paint isn't there, the dimensions isn't there, the shadows, etc. isn't there either, and also some of the finer details aren't there. For example, we just have the daytime running lights here, and we don't have any information or details on the headlights and what do these, scoops on the left and right lead to? Is this a closable air dam? That would be my guess on the front, but it looks really identical on the front as this car. We also have the little hood vents on top here, which looks so good, at least on this model. I'm hoping they look just as good as well on the production model. Now, these look to be digital side mirrors here, and we have more traditional Lexus mirrors here. These actually look like they're pulled off of a Lexus RX or something like that. Wish we had maybe a little bit nicer mirrors, but again, I guess that could change as well. All right, comparing the concept to the patented image here, the details on the taillights, the duckbill spoiler, it's all there. I mean, this looks a little bit more 3D-ish, this little rear diffuser on the back, and where it's very flat looking here on this image. We also don't have any lines for the liftback, where we actually have lines for the liftback, confirming that the new IS is going to be a hatchback, and they could also make it a longer wagon as well. Looking at the future Lexus lineup here, again, this is the IS we're looking at. And then if we scroll to the left, well, there's more of the cross sport wagon that's lifted a little bit, maybe a little bit more rugged, a little bit more ground clearance, and this has more of that traditional wagon look to it as well. But this is more of a hatchback, I guess, a traditional hatchback and a 5-door. And then this is more of your traditional wagon estate. This model, in my opinion, looks a lot better than this model, the traditional sedan that has a liftback. Let me know which design you prefer more, this more estate looking wagon thing or the more traditional sedan liftback. All right, even the wheels, guys, if the wheels are patented, we could see this sort of design of wheels on the production model. And look, the handles also suck into the side, just like they were shown here. So when I see something like that, the lights are going off in my head that this is probably a battery electric vehicle that Lexus is showing here with flush door handles. Now, you might be saying, Kirk, the LC500 has flush door handles, and that's a V8. Yeah, but all the rumors have been suggesting that the next Lexus IS, or I shouldn't say all the rumors, but most of them are suggesting that it's going to be battery electric. And Lexus has to move quick. They have to be fully battery electric in their major markets by 2030. And an IS would be an amazing car to compete against the Tesla Model 3. Maybe not on price, but it's got to be somewhere in the ballpark in terms of range and performance. All right, looking at them from the side is where we see the biggest differences between the concept and the leaked images. The front end here has a much longer overhang, which looks not good. I'll just say that. This looks way better. The proportions are on point. And, even the rear overhang is shorter on this concept model. But between the wheels, everything looks pretty darn similar. The canopy here on here looks a little strange, but honestly, I think it's probably identical to this. So I'm not really too worried about how funny the bubble looks here. We still have the super strong design lines in the same spots. We also have that two-tone going on with the metallic paint color up top, and then you have like this black paint color accented at the bottom. I just wish these overhangs were about 25% smaller like we have down here, and the proportions would be really, really good. We got more of a beaky front end as a result as well, that this looks like a strong hood bulge here, where this one looks more beaky. Let me know what you guys think, but the back end looks very, very similar. And checking out it from this angle, I think from the A-pillar on back, it looks really, really strong. The front end looks like it's taken from a different car. I know that it's just the patented images here, and it'll look a little bit different depending on the angle, as well as the light and the paint colors. Just looks a little off here, but I will definitely reserve judgment until I see it in person. And comparing the backs again, yes, we'll have Lexus on the spoiler, and we'll have these LFA/Lexus battery electric sports vehicle cues on each side, which I think looks pretty cool. Very unique look on the back end, and it is very clean as well. And most of the details on the back are going into these rear taillights, which I will appreciate when I see them. Very smooth bottom of the car. There's not going to be any exhaust tips here, but this is suggesting to me that this is more than likely a battery electric vehicle. And you might see a similarity here between a car that's going to go live on my channel tomorrow at the time of this recording. So April 3rd, my driving impressions on this guy right here is going live. And so you see the aerodynamic similarities here, especially on the rear glass going downwards. Now, the Ioniq 6 is a traditional sedan, where Lexus, of course, will have the advantage of being an actual liftback, a 5-door. And whether you like the Ioniq 6's design or not, it does have very small overhang, at least on the front. And unfortunately, Lexus has this long beaky front end here that kind of reminds me of the new Lexus RX that kind of has this strange front end that juts really far out. So looking at this design compared to this is telling me more than likely this is not on a dedicated battery electric vehicle skateboard platform. It is essentially the ETNGA platform that the BZ4X as well as the Lexus RZ are on. And more than likely that will limit the IS in terms of range, charging, performance, etc. But they got to get this car out fairly soon here. And the new Lexus battery electric vehicle platform won't be out, I think, till 2026. And with these images coming out in early 2023, this vehicle could be out probably by the end of 2024 would be my guess. And Lexus would probably just have to stick with this until 2030, where they could move the IS onto a new skateboard platform. All right, this new Lexus IS EV, assuming it comes out, it needs to have multiple variants, needs to have multiple power outputs, and I think it needs to hit 300 miles of range. Hopefully Panasonic and Lexus and Toyota can figure out how to get more range out of this ETNGA platform. I mean, it helps that it's going to be in a sedan form instead of like a blocky crossover. The RZ has a coefficient of drag of 0.29, which isn't particularly stellar for an efficiency focused vehicle. So anyways, hopefully this new IS is in the low 2s to get the most efficiency as possible for the coefficient of drag is what I mean. 0.21, 0.22, that would be great. Charge rate, hopefully they can break through about 150 kilowatts, but I'm just going to assume that's going to be where it's at, and that's going to be unfortunate if that remains in a couple of years when this vehicle comes out. I'm hoping they can increase energy density here on their battery packs in a couple of years from the low 70s, what we have right now, to around 80. And that would, like I said, probably get us to around 300 miles. Now, this would be the base model, still get a pretty decent 0 to 60 here in about 6 seconds. Now, there's also talks coming out of Japan that the rear motors here could be independent. So you could have one motor controlling the rear left wheel and another motor controlling the rear right wheel. So you have a true torque vectoring system here. That would be amazing. And let's go on to the all-wheel drive models. I think this is going to be very popular here. Hopefully Lexus can get, I'm just putting these numbers from the RZ anyways, RZ 450e, but the configuration for the motors would obviously be far more rear-wheel drive bias. And like I said, it could be triple motor setup, but they might save the triple motor setup for the IS 500 or whatever the higher performance models. Anyways, still, I think with around 300 horsepower, Lexus could easily get this car to go sub 5 seconds, 0 to 60. If you, I mean, I got 4.9 somewhere around there with the RZ 450e. Like, this car in theory should be able to do it quicker, especially with big fat tires on the rear to keep all this power down. Range will go down because they're adding an electric motor to the front here, but I don't think the price will go up that much, maybe 40 to 46,000, something like that. And let's talk about IS 550 F Sport Performance. That's what I'm calling it. We have an IS 500 now. I think it would be fitting for them just to call it IS 550, saying, hey, it's not the same as the IS 500 with the V8. So I think 400 horsepower is realistic. You could say, Kirk, you know, the 5-liter V8 currently with the IS 500, it has more power, but it won't be anywhere near as quick to 0 to 60, in my opinion. I think this car would be easily able to get in the low fours, maybe around 4 seconds, 0 to 60 with 400 electric ponies. Unfortunately, range will go down because of the larger motors in here as well. And then the ISF will return. I don't have anything to base this off of. This is just my fantasy. But I think the ISF will return. Potentially true torque vectoring, at least on the rear. It would be amazing to have it on the front. So 4 individual motors, kind of like what Rivian does with their quad motor pickup truck. I think a minimum of 550 horsepower. It could be much higher than that, to be honest, though. 0 to 63 seconds, it could be lower than that as well. I think they would want to beat a Tesla Model 3 performance because it will cost more. So I think they would like to beat these numbers here, but this is Lexus. I know better to get my hopes up. But I've been doing this for so long that I think these estimations aren't too far off the mark. Range would go down here as well. Think of this as kind of like a Lexus version in some ways of the performance that we would see from like an Ioniq 5N that we'll see here by the end of this year. I think this will come around $70,000, possibly more. Only time will tell, and I'm going to end it there. What do you want to see from a new Lexus IS that's electric? Are you sad that the internal combustion engine's gone? I know I've already come to grips with it because Lexus announced well over a year ago that they're going fully electric. I've already let go of all sadness and look forward to what they can bring with electrification. I think this IS needs to bring a lot of new stuff for the brand, not necessarily for the market, because we know Lexus is behind when it comes to electrification. I just want to see them have something very competitive in terms of range, charging, performance. Is that too much to ask? I don't think so, especially when you're charging high prices. And look, and these prices are probably too good to be true, because look, the RZ is about $70,000 and it's lines up more with this model here. But the IS is a totally different car that needs to have a lower price point for their global markets, and they'll be able to bring down cost over time as well. So anyways, a lot of stuff I could talk about. I could keep going on in this video, the things I want to see, what could change, etc. But I'd rather see you guys down below on your comments. Are you excited with how the vehicle looks? I think from most angles, it's going to be great, especially when we put on some paint, get it out there with some real world reflections. And I can't wait just to see the motor configurations as well. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. Hit the like button and subscribe for more Lexus news, reviews, etc. We'll have, by the end of this year, new GX as well as the TX 3-row brand new crossover. Gotta shut it down. Have a great day and peace.